All right, we are live with another show. Hey, we got Logan in the house. He just heard
Why
himself.
would you record that? Why would you do
But
that?
man, we're live. I can't help it.
This desk is so short. Like I can barely get my legs under it.
All right. Well, today we're going to be talking with Dr. Chuck Baldwin. He is the pastor at Liberty Fellowship in Kalispell, Montana. So I'm super, super excited to have him on the show. He was featured in our film Babylon USA. So if you don't have that film or you haven't seen it, make sure to click the link in the description of this video. We will put a link to where you can purchase this film. It's an excellent film, and we got him right there on the back there. So he was a big part of that film. We flew up there and interviewed Dr. Chuck Baldwin up there in Kalispell. That was a few years ago, but he's a really good guy. He's given us about 30 minutes for an interview today. He's just going to do a phone call. So we are super excited. Can't wait to hear what he has to say about the coronavirus. I just listened to a sermon that he gave on it, and it is awesome. So if you guys want to check out that sermon, if you go to his website, libertyfellowshipmt.com, you can check it out there. But he has been putting out some pretty fiery sermons, and I can't wait to get his take on all of this on our show. So stay tuned. Make sure to share this, guys. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and make sure to hit the thumbs up button on this video. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can catch us on all of our live streams. But Logan, this is going to be your first interview, man, that you've ever done. Are you a little nervous or?
No, I cut my teeth on the calling random pastors. So this falls right in line, you know.
Oh yeah, so this is
good.
Not your first interview.
Yeah, this will be right.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna be. This guy is gonna be an awesome interview. So you're gonna do mostly just listening.
That's the perfect interview.
Yeah.
That's the perfect interview.
Yeah. So, I mean, is there anything else to say, or are we just gonna go right into this interview?
No, yeah. Let me just go ahead and call him, and we'll get it started.
All right, guys. I don't know why I'm nervous about this interview. I haven't been nervous about any of these other interviews, and I don't know. I shouldn't be nervous because you're doing all the
right.
legwork.
I gotta do all the work. You're just the background guy.
Well, so I gave him a few questions down there. So I did circle. I should have told you this off air, but I did circle a few things on that list that are more important than the other things. So
Okay.
He only has 30 minutes, so we have to maximize our time here.
All right. Well, I'll hit the circle ones first then.
And hopefully, you should be able to read my handwriting, no problem, because it's not like your handwriting where it's
Right.
completely illegible. How do you say that word? Illegible.
Illegible, yeah, he did it.
Just completely illegible. Your penmanship is just horrible, man.
Well, I don't write for a living. I don't know what you want me to do. It's all contracts. It's all typing.
It's bad. It's bad. You don't want anyone to see this. And in fact, if you won a prize in the past, we have 3 papers downstairs that I have no idea what prize you won, so I have to contact because Anyways,
it's very clear. All right, you're making it seem like it's just a chicken walked across the page, but it's not that bad.
All right, well, let's get to it, man. You don't even have the phone number, do you?
No, I don't know what's going on.
Okay,
now.
I'll get you the phone number. Actually, no, it's in the phone. I think it's in the last call. So just call the last call. He knows we're coming, and so. Let's do this. Dr. Chuck Baldwin coming up, guys. So make sure to share. We're going to give everyone just 1 second to just share. Go to your Facebook page, open up another tab, and just share this on Facebook right now because this is going to be a powerful, powerful interview. This guy is standing up for our rights in America, and so I fully support his opinion on this issue. If he gives us just like a tenth of what he gave us in this last sermon he gave, then it's going to be a fantastic interview. So let's do it, Logan.
All right, Paul, I'm going to call that Uh, all right, Paul, I'm going to call.
Chuck Baldwin.
Hey, Dr. Baldwin, this is Logan over at Framing the World. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing great. So we're hunkered down here in the studio in Tempe. We got our show going, and so we just appreciate you taking your time to answer some questions with us. You've been doing some great sermons about the coronavirus, and we should appreciate the time you're going to give us. So.
Okay, and I'm going to be talking to Paul.
So no, you're talking to both of us. So my name's Logan Perolis. I work with Paul, helping out with his shows.
Hey, Pastor, I'm here as well.
Yeah, Paul's here too. So
Okay, thank you.
cool. So just to kind of let people know who you are, it's Dr. Chuck Baldwin. You're the pastor at Liberty Fellowship Church. I know you've been labeled an extremist, I believe, from the Southern Poly Law Center. I don't know if you mark that as a badge of honor. I know some people do.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
So. Well, yeah, I just wanted to, if that's all right with you, we'll just kind of get right into it.
That's fine. I'm here for 30 minutes.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that time. So kind of just opening up, we see a lot of people walking around with masks on and gloves on and, quarantining themselves for 14 days in their homes, and they have a lot of fear of the coronavirus. Do you agree with that? Should we be fearful of the coronavirus?
As a Christian, the Bible teaches us throughout the Scriptures, Old and New Testaments, the Lord Jesus himself, and it was repeated redundantly throughout the Bible, tells us, commands us that we should fear not. The fear that we are seeing today is not a typical healthy respect for any disease or virus that has the potential to inflict harm on your health, such as the flu or any other disease that we might contract in this physical body. Those kind of healthy attitudes toward that which could make me ill, with proper preparations to try and keep myself healthy, of course, is normal for us, and God has given us that in the natural law of self-protection and caring for our families, etc. That's not what's happening today. The fear that we are experiencing today is a manufactured, fabricated fear by the media and by government bureaucrats to try and cause us to willingly surrender the God-given, constitutionally protected liberties that we have as Americans. And that's exactly what has happened. We have lost the First Amendment entirely. I should say lost. We should say we've given up. The First Amendment, the freedom to worship, the freedom of peaceful assembly, the freedom to publicly redress government, the freedom to travel, the freedom to work, the freedom to buy and sell, all of these great liberties upon which the American experiment was built have been abdicated via the fear of this virus, which is a real virus, and people have really died, but it is being exaggerated to the point of fear-mongering with the purpose of causing people to lose their rational thinking relative to freedom and the well-being of our society. Our economy is shut down. People are losing jobs by the millions. Many of these jobs are never going to come back. People are spending all their life savings to try to get through this. It has produced a panic and a hysteria in the minds of people that is doing far more damage than any virus could ever do to us.
I agree with that. Is there anything that we can do as Christians to help? Maybe if we have family members that aren't saved, what can we do to kind of alleviate that fear?
Well, the thing that the Christian has over anyone else in the world is, at least the thing that we should have, we profess to have, is a resilient, undying trust in God. I mean, think about it. After all, we who call ourselves Christians have entrusted God with our eternal soul. If we can trust God with our eternal soul, why in the world will we not be able to trust God with our physical body? You know, Jesus said that we are not to fear them which can kill the body, but fear him that is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. You know, we are all physical beings, and we are going to die. It doesn't matter whether we are taken out through coronavirus or the flu or heart attack or cancer or car wreck or falling down a flight of stairs. The means of our death is really insignificant. We are mortal beings, and we are going to die physically. But as Christians, we know that we're going to live eternally, and we are prepared for eternal life. We're supposed to be ready to go into eternity at any time, and that is part and parcel with Christianity 101. So now, all of a sudden, I'm seeing Christians that seem to be putting their physical existence ahead of their eternal existence, and the philosophy and the thinking of Christian people has become more Adamic than it is Christ-like. I mean, we should be showing our unsaved community, our world and neighbors and friends, you know, what eternal life is all about, and warning them that death could come at any time, and that we need to be prepared to die, and showing them Christ as the way, the truth, and the life, and the salvation that he's given us through his cross and resurrection, and emphasizing that this world is just a prelude to the world to come. And, you know, we should do this with confidence and with, you know, even with joy, in the sense that, you know we have eternal life, and we don't have to fear death. And, you know, we're not living just for this life, that there is an eternity to come. And, you know, so these are the kind of attitudes that Christians typically have shared with the unsaved world through the generations. But right now, Christians seem to be just as fearful as the unsaved, which, you know, as far as the unsaved are concerned, what's the difference? What's the difference between them and this so-called Christian who is demonstrating the same fear and hysteria, trepidation, worry, panic, etc., over a virus? Our Christian forebears have faced all of this and so much more for so much longer. You know, my mom and dad were the greatest generation believers. You know, they went through 2 world wars. They went through the Great Depression. You know, I remember as a little boy hearing their stories of the Great Depression and how awful it was. Never one time did I ever hear manifested from them or my uncles and aunts, my grandma and grandpa. I never once heard fear brought into the picture. I never once heard people staying home from church. My mom told me emphatically several times that throughout all the Depression, she can't hardly remember a Sunday that they didn't assemble at church, no matter how bad it was, no matter how sick people were, no matter how poor they were and hungry they were. You know, when it came Lord's Day, they all got in the buckboard wagon and they went to church, unless they were absolutely too sick to do so. And this was the spirit of the Christian throughout the ages. And now all of a sudden, this generation of Christians is cowering in fear under these stay-at-home orders, and they're actually praising the government that is stealing their constitutional liberties from them. This is one of the most bizarre things I think that could ever happen to us as believers in America.
Right. That's a very good point. So, moving along with this fear that's being pushed, we hear it from the media, we hear it from politicians that this is a global pandemic. You know, there's a pandemic happening, it's affecting everyone, there's no way to hide from it. So seems to be a narrative that's being pushed. You know, every channel you turn on, that's the entire coverage. You know, that's all it is. It's just talking about this pandemic. Who do you think is benefiting from this?
Well, first, before I answer that, let me just say that this fear and paranoia this hysteria that's being promoted by the media and people in government is based on faulty information, and I believe it's deliberately done so. We have a physician. She's an internal medicine doctor at Liberty Fellowship here in Kalispell, Montana, where I pastor. And last Sunday, she gave about a 15-minute delivery to our people regarding what's happening concerning the counting of COVID-19 deaths. She's been a physician for over 30 years. Writing death certificates is a routine part of her job. And she told us very point blank that the CDC has instructed physicians to label people's death certificates as dying from COVID-19 without any evidence that they even had COVID-19, without any scientific data to support that they have COVID-19. If they presume that they have COVID-19, they're to list that as the cause of death. An assumption, a speculation that they might have coronavirus, they list the cause of death as COVID-19. Many of these people that are said to be died of coronavirus is just a big fat lie. They are lying to us about the number of people who are dying from COVID. It's interesting that while all these COVID-19 deaths are spiking, people that are paying attention know that the deaths associated with heart disease are plummeting. So not as many people are dying this year of heart disease than usual. Is that what we're supposed to assume? Pneumonia deaths are plummeting. Now I'm talking about as far as the records are concerned. So we're to assume that, boy, this year has really been good for pneumonia patients. A whole lot less of them are dying from pneumonia. A whole lot less people are dying from diabetes. A whole lot people are dying from heart disease. Really? No, there's not fewer people dying from heart disease. There's not fewer people dying from diabetes. There's not fewer people dying from pneumonia. What's happening is the doctors, instead of listing their causes of death as those diseases, they're listing them as coronavirus. So all these diseases that are going down actually are helping to escalate the rate of death according to the medical statistics for coronavirus. It's a fabrication. It's a lie. And this video that this Dr. Bukacek put on our webpage, we put it online on our YouTube page. I don't know, last time I heard, I think maybe 400,000 people have watched it already and sharing it with people. I mean, doctors have an obligation to start telling the truth, and thankfully a few of them are starting to speak out. So we have to acknowledge that we're being lied to, that this is not all accurate. Not only that, let's don't forget that according to the statistics regarding coronavirus, 80% of everyone who contracts coronavirus shows only mild or even no symptoms. 80% of the people who contract coronavirus have a cold, and that's it. Their life is not threatened. They're not in the hospital. They're not receiving emergency treatment. They don't have to go to one of these COVID-19 special centers with everybody and, masks and gloves and all. They have a cold. It's 80%. The median age of people that have died, even in Italy, where the deaths have been greater, was 80 years of age. That's the median age of death of the corona patients in Italy, 80 years of age. And not only that, the vast percentage of, like 99% in Italy now, of the patients that have died there had at least one other underlying disease before they contracted the coronavirus. and many of them had 2 or 3 different diseases. So the coronavirus comes along, and it's the straw that broke the camel's back. But they were already very sick with a weakened immune system before they ever got the coronavirus. Those are the people that are at the most risk of succumbing to the virus. It's just like the same thing with the flu or any upper respiratory infection. If you have a weakened immune system, if you already have other diseases in your body, and you contract a virus such as that, then you're more prone to succumbing to it. The vast majority of healthy people with a good immune system, if they get the virus, they either A, don't even know they have it, or B, if they experience mild cold-like symptoms. So let's not forget that. This is a total manipulation by the mainstream media, by the establishment medical community, by the government, to try and force people to surrender their freedoms. And as far as who's benefiting, I mean, you know who's benefiting? The big government statists who want to take our liberties away from us and establish a police state where that we look to the government for everything. They're benefiting from this. The politicians who are buying votes by giving all kinds of federal assistance to people who are staying at home, they're benefiting. And this big pharma is going to benefit like crazy, because the end game here is forced vaccination. And that's what Fauci's talking about. That's what Bill Gates is talking about. Even Donald Trump, unfortunately, is talking about this stuff. Forced vaccination, taking the freedom of choice away from somebody who says, you know what, I have a healthy immune system. God has given me a natural immunity, and he's given that to all of us. And unless things happen to take away that natural immunity and weaken it, we are able to fight off diseases. I mean, but we get these diseases, whether it's the flu, of whatever strain it is, the measles, chickenpox, and our body naturally develops an immunity to it, and that's how society protects itself from these diseases. Now what they're doing is, by telling everybody to stay away from each other, closing schools, closing businesses, closing establishments where there's contact. So now then people are not going to develop the virus until perhaps later, and the natural immunity that would be developing in society is not there. So the result is going to be even worse for people down the road because of the lack of immunity that would naturally build. So they are deliberately doing this. So that means now we must depend on this unnatural, man-made vaccine, and that they're going to require that we take, of which we have no idea what the consequences are going to be in our body. I mean, we already know that the flu virus itself has killed more people than any other vaccine that we know of. And there's so many different strains of the flu. There's no way the flu shot can cover all those viruses. And the results of many of the flu shots have been people getting sick and even people dying with the vaccine, after the vaccine. So these are the kind of things that they're going to mandate, which is going to benefit everybody associated with Big Pharma. It's going to benefit all the politicians that mandate these orders. It's going to benefit all the guys like this Fauci creep, who's no doubt the recipient of millions and millions of dollars of people that are using him to scare the American people into surrendering their liberties. And the WHO and the CDC that are going to continue to reap millions and billions of government dollars because of how they're needed now, because they've got to find all these vaccines and they've got to make these I mean, they're the people that are going to benefit. It's certainly not going to be the American people.
Right. Yeah, you can see them setting it up how it's going to be a reoccurring thing, that it's not like we're just going to fight this and then it's going to be over and done with and back to normal. You can see them laying the groundwork of, oh no, this is going to be a yearly thing, just like the flu, and you're going to have to get your vaccine. And even people, when they say like, oh, well, they're not going to force people to get vaccines. I mean, if you don't buy that conspiracy, like, oh, that's just a conspiracy, they're not going to force anyone. Well, I mean, they already force your kids, like if you want to send your kids to school, they're going to have to get the
Right.
new vaccine. And they'll just lump that onto the list of all the vaccines they have to have, and they'll have to have their card. And so they'll make it, socially unacceptable. Like, if you want to put your kids in school or take them to certain events or do certain things, you definitely see them laying the groundwork and even trying to push, because they've always pushed the vaccines on the elderly as far as the flu, like you said. They always push that trying to get the flu vaccine, and this will just be another thing that they sell every year. Oh, you got to get your coronavirus vaccine. That's it's a very, you can see how they're tracking towards that. Why do you think it's because of the fear? Why do you think people are so free, or, will so freely give away their liberty? As we've seen it happen over these years, with the Patriot Act, and they just kind of go along with it and go along with it. Why are people so free to give their liberties away little by little?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, and the answer I think is a long one. But we are so far removed from tyranny as a country. We have never tasted what our founders and our forebears went through. We can't relate to what nations around the world have gone through and are going through right now. We've lost touch with persecution, which was part of the church's existence until the United States was birthed. This great country of freedom for Christians especially to worship and all the other liberties that we acknowledge in our Bill of Rights. We're so far removed from persecution. We're so far removed from the stranglehold of tyranny and things of that nature. So we don't have a practical reality check relative to what it's like. That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is the principles of liberty, the natural law principles of liberty that God has given us in His Word have not been taught in the United States for at least 100 years. They used to be taught in the classrooms. They used to be taught in colleges. They were taught in the churches, from the pulpits. They were taught from the time we were little. The great principles of freedom as given us by our Creator that are codified in our Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence, etc. Those things were taught. They're not taught anymore. If there's any mention of them, it's a critical mention. And so we have not just one generation, but we have many generations of Americans, including Christian Americans, who have no theological, scriptural, natural understanding of what freedom really is. They truly do not know the definition of freedom. They don't know what it is. They don't even know how to recognize it. And so whenever this happens, and we are stripped basically of our entire First Amendment, the American people, because they are looking to government to take care of them, which has been a gradual process over the last 100 years as well, people no longer look to God and to their society and to churches and neighbors and all these kind of things like we used to. We look to government. And, of course, everything government provides, it first has to steal from somebody else. And that's the only way government can do anything to help anybody, is because they have to take it from somebody else. They have no power to produce anything. All they know how to do is steal from somebody and then give it to somebody else. But the people that are the recipients of this theft, they don't have an appreciation for how this money came to them. All they know is that it came from the government, and they're appreciative of the government. When the politicians come along on election time and say, vote for me and I'm going to give you more benefits, well, they're going to vote for them because they want more benefits, and they don't even think about the people that are being stolen, they're losing their benefits because of these politicians that are thieves and using that as bribery for people to receive the benefits to keep voting for them. These concepts are completely unknown. The preachers don't paying attention to them. They haven't taught these principles in, like I said, 100 years. Uh, our people are literally ignorant of their history. They're ignorant of what liberty is all about. And so when this comes along and the people act the way they do, I think all it is, it's an illustration of how totally, thoroughly ignorant the Christians and the people of America have become relative to what freedom really means.
So speaking on people's behavior, so we've noticed now, a lot of places have gone on lockdown and shutdown. You're supposed to stay in your home, and you drive the freeway, and all the signs say "Stay home, stop the spread." There's definitely, and you can see, and I'm not sure if you're on Facebook. I'm sure you are. There's a new Facebook thing where around your photo, on your tag, you can put this little band around it that is like your stamp, your seal of approval, saying, "Hey, I support." It says, like, I think it says "Stay home, save lives," and that's like letting the world know that you support, staying home, and you support the shutdown, you support the narrative. And there's real social shaming happening. And so when I pull up Facebook and you can even see videos of people screaming at other persons for "How dare you be outside?" But a lot of it on Facebook, you can see people when they're just asking like a random question, like, "Hey, is this place open?" Or "Do you know if I can get this?" Or "I can get that?" Or "Anyone have something like this?" There's just all these messages of like, "How dare you? You should stay at home." And they're just screaming at people, online, that "How dare you violate, you're going to kill someone. You're going to kill your kids if you go outside." Can you talk about the social shaming that's happening and the bullying on social media through this?
Well, I think all that shows us is how it happened in Germany. For years, I remember people asking the question, how could the people of Germany let that happen to them? How could they go into totalitarianism so quickly? Well, look around. They did it the same way that we're doing it, or we're doing it the same way they did it. I mean, that's what happened then. I mean, it became politically unpopular to oppose the regime and the Fuhrer. And so it wasn't long in that those little pockets of resistance were paying a very heavy price, not only from the government, but also from their friends and neighbors and even sometimes their own family members. Jesus talked about that. He said, the Lord talked about that a man's foes will be those of his own household. People turning against their own brothers and sisters and sons and daughters and moms and dads, etc. I mean, that's happening right now. It's what you're talking about. These people are totally given over to the spirit of slavery. That's the bottom line. In their heart, in their mind, they have given their heart over to the spirit of servitude and slavery. And, once you do that, you'll never be happy until everyone else is also enslaved. As long as there's one person that has an independent, free spirit, you must stamp that out. You must, because they're an enemy to you because you have given yourself to slavery, and you can't have somebody walking around in your neighborhood or walking around in your family that's promoting freedom. That exposes you as the slave that you are. And so you must shame them. You must do everything you can to pressure them into accepting the chains that you've already accepted. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people that have already in their hearts surrendered to servitude and slavery, tyranny and oppression. And they will not be satisfied or content until everybody else has also put the chains on. And this is exactly what happened in Germany. The exact same thing. We're seeing it. We don't have to ask the question anymore. How did it happen in Germany? It's happening right now. The positive thing I'm seeing, fortunately, is that there are people that are starting to wake up and speak out. There are doctors. There are preachers that are taking a stand. There are individuals, regardless of their profession, that are taking a stand. There's radio shows like yours that are popping up, and the people in the media, mostly independent media, but even a few in the mainstream media that are saying, "Hey, wait a minute, this is enough. We've gone too far already. We gotta back up." So people are starting to speak up. I guess the question is it too little, too late? How long? Here's the thing. Let me just leave you with this. I wrote this in my column that was produced today. I have a national syndicated column that goes out every Thursday, and the title of the column is "It's Time for Resurrection." And here's what I say in the column. If every church and every pastor, if every evangelical pastor and church in the country would just open the doors of their churches and everybody go back to church on Sunday, just everybody go back to church, this tyrannical lockdown would end in one day. It would stop it. It would give our country back to the people. If every Christian and every pastor would just say, "This is enough. This is Resurrection Sunday. We're going to be in church," and everybody just go to church despite whatever lockdown order they've got in their community or state. What are they going to do? They're going to lock up thousands and maybe millions of people, depending on the size of the city, that are going to church. No, they're not going to do it. The gig would be up. The intimidation would be over. The facade would be blown, and that would be it. They would realize that they no longer have the power to intimidate the people. They're not afraid anymore. They can't use these fear tactics to keep them, biting their fingernails and watching the news on television all day long, propagandizing. They can't do it. They've lost it. It would turn the country back to the liberties that we had before this started a month ago. And it could be done in one day. It could be done in one day. The pastors and Christians of America have the power to stop this on Easter Sunday. It could be done in one day. How many will do it? There are few that are. But if they all would, this thing would be over on Sunday. By Monday, it would be America would be back to semi-normal. One day, and we could stop this.
Well, that's very powerful, Pastor. I appreciate you spending the time with us and educating our listeners here, and we know that they're going to appreciate it. So we just want to thank you for sharing your time with us and sharing your message. And God bless you, sir. Have a great day. Okay.
Thank you. Can I give the website out before?
Yeah,
I go?
please.
Yeah, if people want to get my column that I just talked about, also the Dr. Bukacek's video, etc., ChuckBaldwinLive.com is the website, ChuckBaldwinLive.com. The Facebook page is Chuck Baldwin MT, and that's the same address for YouTube, Chuck Baldwin MT, short for Montana, Chuck Baldwin MT. Chuck Baldwin MT for both YouTube and for Facebook, and the website, ChuckBaldwinLive.com. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for talking with us. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for letting me come on. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
So, yeah, go to ChuckBaldwinLive.com. Support him on there. A lot of great stuff today. That was really cool. A lot of great points. A lot of stuff that we've been talking about here on the show. So to have another person kind of reiterate that stuff, it was very powerful. So that was good.
I love that point where he said, like, if every pastor had church on Sunday, it would go back to normal. That's
yeah. I mean,
powerful.
It's like that's like a civil disobedience. That's how stuff works. Like if no one paid traffic tickets anymore, there wouldn't be any more traffic tickets because they would just completely clog the court and you couldn't do it anymore. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, it's not going to happen, but, yeah.
Yeah, guys, that was awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I just want to really encourage you guys to go and purchase this DVD, Babylon USA. It features Chuck Baldwin in it, and he does a fantastic job in it, and it's really a great film. It really kind of gives you an example of where we're at in America today. And man, that was an awesome interview. I'm glad he agreed to do it. I really appreciate him doing it. So tomorrow we have another live stream schedule. We are going to be basically going through Deported, and we're going to be doing like a producer's commentary where we watch the film and comment on different things that happen. But remember, guys, to share Deported. Share Deported everywhere. It's now available online, so make sure to share it and make sure to support that film. We really want it to get out to a lot of people, and it's a great film. I'm really happy, and this guy's in it, so you know it's a good film if Logan's in it.
Right.
But any thoughts though, Logan?
On the call?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked his point that he made about, and we've been kind of, I don't know if we haven't pushed it or haven't talked about it too much on the show, because I wanted to kind of dive more into it. I saw a couple graphs that, they were kind of going around line about, they were showing all the trends of pneumonia over the last few years. And they're all, as they show the weeks of the year, and they kind of spike, in the wintertime, and they kind of taper back off in the summer. And you can see they all follow pretty much the same trend, up and then down. But if you look at 2019 pneumonia deaths, it's just like completely inverted, right? So it's like what he's talking about, about how there's all these deaths from coronavirus are being labeled as that COVID-19, but they're not that. And I totally understand that as there's less people out on the road, there's going to be less car accident, less fatalities. Less people are outside walking around, less people are going to get pneumonia and get the flu, just from being in the cold and things like that. So I totally understand that there's a correlation of, because people are staying home, that less people are going to die. Like if you just hunker down in your house, you're not apt to get hurt outside. I totally understand that. But I think that there is something there. There's something there that I don't think it explains 100% of it. But I do feel that they are not, those numbers aren't right. They're not 100% accurate of, COVID-19. This is a strictly COVID-19 death. I think you can kind of see trends of different graphs. It's not just the flu. It's not just pneumonia. It's not, there's heart disease. That doesn't matter whether you're inside, outside. You got a bad heart, you got a bad heart. So it's interesting. We're going to do a little more work and try and put those things together and make sure that we're not just pulling Facebook info off the, internet and giving it to you, from internet doctors. We're going to do a little research and kind of, and see exactly what those graphs are and where that information, that stuff's coming from, to see if there's a correlation in that they're really kind of overstating these coronavirus deaths, and it's not actually as bad as they tried to pitch it as. And so when they say when it wasn't as bad as it was supposed to be, and then a couple months from now, it's like, well, see, it's because we all stayed in our house and we did all these things we were supposed to do. It's like, well, is that really the reason why, or is it because you were just trying to you ran out of numbers to push, because you were already trying to push it, with all these made up stuff. So yeah, it's interesting to see. We'll check that out for you guys and see what's up with that.
Well, my sister made a good point on this issue. She's a nurse, and she's dealing with all this right now. And she said to me, like, hey, Paul, it takes like 2 weeks to get an autopsy back, and this thing's only been going on for like 3 weeks, a month tops. Like, these are not like we're not having autopsies done of this. This is just, if they have, they're dying from the coronavirus. Is just, that's what they label it as. But are we going to try to get Dustin on the line?
You want to call him?
Yeah, call him up.
All right.
Do it on that iPad there, and then we can see him.
Okay. You want to Skype him?
Yeah.
Okay.
But while you're doing that, I'll talk here. But man, I just really appreciate Dr. Baldwin coming on the show, and I really hope you go to his website and support him and check out his latest sermons. They are definitely worth listening to. I know I throw his sermons on and just play them at double speed and get through them real quick, but they're great. So if you're looking for an extra sermon out there, that would be the one to listen to, I would say, this week. And so, I really can't wait to talk to more people. We just booked another interview, and so we should have an interview hopefully Monday with a lady that's going to be discussing DMSO. And so if you don't know what DMSO is, Make sure to tune into that live stream on Monday. It's going to be a great live stream. This DMSO is just like the miracle cure. So if you have any pain or arthritis or anything like that, this cream is just great. So make sure to check out the link in the description of this video, and you can check it out there. We just got it restocked in the store and going. So I don't know. Did you figure him out on there?
No, not yet. We're still. I think maybe because he might be going around, so I don't know if he's on Skype. You want me to try and just call him on the phone?
Yeah. Yeah, we might as well just get his opinion here. I don't know if he's been listening to us. But I've been loving doing these live streams. I really hope to continue doing these. I think they've been going great.
System.
Oh, that's
2.
I think they've been going great, and so I want to have a bunch of different people on talking about a variety of different topics. It's obviously not going to be coronavirus every night,
Right.
but I think this is just, we have this studio. I think it's just great to utilize it and get important information out.
Right. So Dustin had an idea of what we wanted to start promoting, as far as we want to hear from you, and obviously we hear from you in the chat. But there's not a log of it. There's not a resource where we can go back and reference that. Sometimes it gets lost, or it's hard to pull up that information. So we were talking with Paul about getting together an email, and so a Framing the World email where you can send in show topics, people that you want us to talk to, and then the information. I'm starting to get, just from my friends online that see me, doing this show, they're like, hey, did you see this video? Hey, look at this graph. Let's see what they're talking about. So any kind of material that you see out there you think is interesting and you want us to cover it and check it out, send it to us. So Paul, do you have like a basic email that they can start sending that stuff to?
Yeah, you can. If you want to get a hold of me, the best way to get a hold of me is to email me at paul@framingtheworld.com. So paul@framingtheworld.com, or you can go to our website, framingtheworld.com, and just hit contact and then just shoot us an email. But we would appreciate any tips. If you have someone that you know of, like in your town, that's a physician or has some insight into this, we'd love to have them on the show and hear them out, because even if they don't have the exact opinion as us, we want to hear different sides of this, because no one has the right opinion.
Right. This show is originally when we came to it's trying to be fun. We're trying to take a bad situation and have a good time with it and talk with people that we like to talk to. So it's not like we're super hardcore onto like one track, and if you don't have that thought, you can't. You're gonna get banned in the chat box, and you're not going to be able to get off.
You only get a timeout.
You only get timeouts.
Yeah.
It's very rare you get the hammer drop, right?
You have dropped the hammer though.
I
one
feel like
time,
I give a lot of grace to people. I feel that. So we're not, anyone that wants to come on the show, obviously we're not going to put, a whack job on the show. Like, Paul had a guy who was a little bit out there, and so he wanted to come on the show. And we're like, okay, well, it's a little too much. Like when we say doctors, we don't want the ladies with like, waving the crystal ball. And if you put the crystals, it gets the Rona out of your chest. We don't want that kind of stuff. But obviously, like, we're not trying to, pigeonhole ourselves here and only have one viewpoint. We want to hear from everybody. We want different people to talk about it, because everybody has a different, life trajectory and life view about things. And so it's just a way to bounce, ideas off of each other. It's not has to be some kind of lockstep. And if you don't agree with it, we're going to pick on you and, make fun of you. Well, maybe Dustin a little bit, because that's his style.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're just trying to have a good time, and obviously, like, this is just, we're kind of using it as a springboard for, we're taking the situation as it came out. We're not, we don't have much going on during the day because they were all shut down. So it's like, well, hey, why don't we come down to the Framing the World studio and we'll make some content. We'll talk about what's going on, and we want to put on a live show. Like that's been Paul's dream for a long time, is to make a live show. And we feel like this can do that, that eventually this is going to be over, And we want this to be a regular thing, that you guys have a place where you can go that you has people on that you like, and a worldview that you're familiar with, and it's not going to have all kinds of, vulgarity and profanity in it, that you can watch with your kids and hang out and laugh and have a good time, and learn something and have interesting topics. And so in the future, as this, all passes away, we're going to have all different types of content on here. So yeah, whatever you have, if you have different ideas or you have different things that we should talk about, and if you like, I've heard from friends and people say, hey, maybe just take a day off. That's a lot of coronavirus talk. My wife was saying that, like, don't bring it home with you. Maybe if you want to say, like, hey, we should talk about something like what we're doing this week. We're going to do the deported talk. On Saturday, we're going to have, like Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, just kind of laugh and joke and have a good time with it and take a day off from the coronavirus talk. So yeah, if you have something that you want to talk about, email Paul at framingtheworld.com, and give us a show idea. And if we got some material for it, you want to send us some material for it, we'll put it on air and we'll just have a good time with it. So
yeah, and I know I want to do more shows about health as well. So I know that's something that I'm interested in. And I know our friend Lisa geeks out on health. So actually, she just created a YouTube channel also today. So if you can find her, Lisa Palumbo, on YouTube, if you type that in, you should go subscribe to her channel. She gives a lot of great advice. Or she created it a couple days ago, whatever.
Well, let me try Dustin one more time.
All right.
We'll see if he picks up.
Yeah, so make sure you tune in to tomorrow's live stream. It should be a fun live stream. We're going to have Pastor Anderson on again, and we're just going to be watching Deported and talking about it. And so if you guys want to support this show, if you like this show and you want to support it, make sure you donate to the show. There'll be a link also in the description. We definitely want to make it better. So there's definitely a lot of equipment that I don't have that I'd like to get to make it better. So if the donations come in, I'll get it.
Yeah, and like I said, constructive criticism. Okay, so if you have a thing that we're not doing right and you'd like us to change it, constructive.
If you don't like our face, we can't.
Yeah,
help
you
that.
Can't change this mug. Okay, this is you got what you got. All right. So.
And we're doing the best we can. Like the levels, we do the best we can.
Yeah, we're not trained. I mean, Paul's the only one that's went to any kind of schooling for this. But
Yeah, but this is still all new. Like
yeah, right.
I'm still learning. Like all this equipment, if you saw all this stinking equipment that we have, like so many things can go wrong. Like this board right here, like is what a disaster and nightmare. Yeah, a lot of things go wrong. And so we're learning. We're trying the best we can, but we want to do better. We want to do more. And we have this studio. We want to use it. So all we need is your support. And so even just an email, and I've been getting so many of these lately. Just the email just saying, "Hey, we love the show. Thanks for doing the show. I'm so glad that someone gets it." And just shoot us an email and just say thanks. That's even appreciative. Then we know people like it. We know when you share it, hey, people like this show. So that keeps us pumped about doing it. And so
do you have I know I called Dustin. It looks like he's still on the line, but I'm not sure if it's his answering machine or if he actually picked it up.
Oh, there we go. We got him.
I'm here.
Dustin.
What's up, guys?
Have you been listening to the interview, man?
No, sorry, I've been busy at work, so I'm actually working.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Not that you guys aren't.
Yeah, he's an essential employee.
Yeah, he's very essential.
Right. So.
Hey, man, do you have any? We're just kind of wrapping up the show here. Did you have any kind of comment? Every day is a new day of stuff going on. So anything that you wanted to kind of get off your chest or chat about real quick?
Paul, remember that idea we were talking about, maybe having an email specifically for the show so people can send ideas?
Yeah, we just talked about that. We're going to get right now everything's going to Paul at Framing the World, but I believe you talked about getting more based on just the show? What was the name of the email you wanted to do?
Yeah, we got to get like an actual email that says, but this is the thing. The name of the show is Framing the World Live, but I don't really like the name of that show.
Okay, here's a new thing. Okay, this is what we want to do.
Put a call out. That's what we need
We're
to do.
We're putting a call out.
Yeah,
if you want to change the name, okay, pick the show name, okay?
Yeah.
So email paul@framingtheworld.com.
Give us a good name.
Hit us up in the chat box. Let us get a good name of what you think we should make it. And maybe
why don't you just make the email? Can you make a new email, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, you can do everything if you pay for it.
Yeah. Oh well, like just do like live show at framingtheworld.com and then
Framing the World Live maybe at
how about
simple. Live at framingtheworld.com? That would work.
Yeah,
live
good.
at framingtheworld.com. Oh, look at this. We're figuring
we
it all
gotta
out.
keep it-
That email does not exist yet, guys. So don't
email that. It's just going to bounce right back. You're not going to get anywhere.
But maybe in the future.
Well, you just got to get on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that. I think we can get that this afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead and do that. And then and then you can send the ideas there. We'll just take ideas and we'll just take all the good ideas and kind of sift through them and try to get something useful out of it. And then so that'll give us all kinds of good content and all kinds of relative information. And we can just have a backlog of stuff, and it'll all be in one place. So it'll be
exactly.
good. People can send memes, or they can.
Oh,
send,
memes! That's what we need. We
Send
need
us your
memes.
memes.
Yeah, we need good memes.
Yeah, memes. Some people think they're really good at memes, so maybe we can have like the winner of the memes can get themselves.
That's a good idea. That's a good giveaway right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can make because Paul, you can do a voting, right?
Yeah, we can.
So we can make
voting.
a couple of memes. We'll see who wins the night's the best meme.
We should pick a date that they're due.
I like
Maybe
it.
like a week away from now.
I like it.
You want to just do a week away? So next Saturday?
Yeah, let's do it on a Saturday night. Yeah.
So next
Well,
Saturday.
you can't kick it off. You can't kick it off yet because you don't have your email set up.
Well, just think about it. Start doing your homework. Start putting things together.
We can do
Start finding the pictures, and then we'll get that email set, and we're gonna send them in on Saturday. We'll vote on them.
Awesome, man. Well,
And the other thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So and then it's also good because then people can send like news articles and things, and we can get some ideas, and it can also be a place for people to contact us if they want to get on the show, and we can man it during the show so people can we can just pull up what's there, and that'll help us stay relevant.
I love it. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Dustin. I'll try to get that set up today.
Okay. Yeah. Other than that, like what's going on in the news? Let's see about that. I guess I don't know what you guys talked about before I got it because I didn't hear. So, but like all this information is like coming out now about how they're broadly classifying these deaths. Like that's actually becoming mainstream.
Yeah, that's exactly. We did touch on that, and we kind of followed up after Dr. Baldwin got off about how they're not. There's all these other deaths are being undercounted than normally would, and you can contribute some of it to people being locked in their homes. But you can't attribute that, the cancer and heart-related deaths, you can't attribute that to, staying at home.
Right. So, I don't know. I think we could probably scratch together a good show. I don't know when you want to do another type of show that we've been doing on the same subject. I know you got...
Well, I got someone
going
scheduled
tomorrow?
for Monday. Well, I don't have them scheduled yet, but I hope to have them scheduled for Monday for a show about DMSO. But
Okay. Cool. Well, I got to get back to work. I got to make some noise here.
all right,
So,
brother. We'll talk later.
All right, see you, Dustin.
All right. Talk to you guys. Have a good day.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I don't think we're gonna take any calls or anything tonight.
Cool.
You feeling good about the show?
Yeah, no, it was good. That was a great interview. You could totally tell like he had a lot more that he wanted to give, So
Yeah.
it's we were happy to have the half hour. But
Yeah, he was
you could
real busy.
Yeah, you could let him run for a whole show
Yeah.
and have a good time with it for sure. Yeah.
But he was real busy today. But we're glad that he gave us granted us that 30 minutes
For sure.
at least.
Yep. Maybe we can try and reach out to him again in the future if you guys like it. and try and get him back on. So, but yeah, just to even talk about, obviously when this is all over, you can tell like he's got a very liberty-minded background. And so it'd be neat just to talk to him about that, about history topics, and the liberty movement and, what's going on with it now. So.
Yep. And make sure, guys, check out Babylon USA. Don't forget that film.
All right. That's it. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Okay.
All right. God bless, guys. Bye. Check out his website.